Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Hearing Things with Julie and Brad. Today, we're going to be doing something that's it's happening right now, I think, depending on when this comes out. But it's something called Reese's Law. And so it has to do with batteries for hearing aids. And it's problematic for a couple of different reasons. But Julie has done a lot of research.
Right.
So I'm going to throw it over to her.
So I was going to talk about this and just preface it with it's problematic, but it's also necessary and important at the same time. So it's one of those things that both things can be true. It's problematic for us, but the reasoning behind it makes sense, and you got to kind of find that happy medium between safety and consumer satisfaction. Okay, so it's Public Law 117-171. It's known as Reese's Law. It actually came into law in August 16th, 2022. And the reason we're hearing about it now in 2025 is because the battery manufacturers needed to meet the standard that was set by this law, so that's why it's kind of current in the news right now, even though it had been passed several years ago. The background is actually quite sad. A little girl named Reese Hamsmith, she was 16 months old. She passed away in December of 2020 after ingesting a button battery missing from the family remote. I mean, you know how fast kids move, how quickly things can happen. And her tragedy, sadly, inspired this law to protect others from the hazards of accidental battery ingestion. So the purpose was that it was passed to protect children and consumers against dangers associated with the accidental ingestion, particularly of button cell or coin batteries, so the little round batteries that we use in so many devices, including our hearing aids. And it requires child-resistant closure on products and more stringent warning labels. So when you think about this, you're like, well, how often are these batteries around? We find them in almost everything, like remotes, tea light candles, greeting cards, key fobs, jewelry, toothbrushes. They're much more commonly used, the size and shape of battery, than I had actually thought about. But hearing aid batteries is included in this collection, and the packaging for hearing aid batteries was required to be in place by 2024. Here's how this impacts us. The packaging must be secured in such a way that it requires the use of a tool or at least two independent and simultaneous hand movements to open. So the hearing aid packages that I've seen, my newest ones, the Rayovac brand, they require a scissors to open them up. The old flip wheel compartment is phased out and gone. It requires scissors. This presents problems for people with mobility issues, motor coordination, arthritis. And then I was even thinking, Brad, considering how frequently you and I have to change our hearing aid batteries on the run, I can't be carrying scissors with me.
Don't run with scissors.
I can't run with scissors. But definitely, I'm thinking, what happens if I'm at a baseball game and I take out my batteries, forgetting that they're repackaged differently than they have been from when I was a kid? I can't just flip open the flap, turn the wheel, and pop a battery out. I'm going to have to do a lot of some pre-prep to make sure that I can get to the batteries when I need them while on the go. Because changing your batteries isn't an optional activity. It isn't something where I can wait several hours until I can get a scissors or get to a better place to do this.
So I want to interrupt real quick with that. Is if you take them out of the package because they're lithium ion or something, the type of batteries, they're air activated, and so I've run into issues where I've kept batteries in my coat or something, and they fell out of the case, and they were duds because if they're not in the cases, so you can't open the batteries in prep and not use them for a while. So like you'd have to do it before you go to like the BC football game or something. You'd have to cut it that morning just in case you need it that day. But if you don't need it, you got to throw those batteries away because they're going to be dead when you need them.
I started to think about some workarounds for that. And one of my thoughts was, I wonder if I can save and reuse some of the old click wheel with the flat packages. Put the new batteries into those old formats for when I'm on the go. It helps a little bit. It's still sealed, but that's not that factory seal. It's not great. On Amazon, they have hearing aid cases and keychain compartments for batteries, so you can take the batteries out and stack them into like a little holder that can go on your keychain.
Interesting.
But again, that doesn't solve the activation problem. And you still have to be equally careful not to have those packages that are more accessible and keep them out of the reach of children, pets, etc., to ensure safety of accidental ingestion, right? So I also want to point out that this now incurs another additional cost for hearing aid wearers that's not covered by insurance. Because now we have to buy these batteries that we can't get at. We also have to have a workaround, which is another cost to us if we have to get a different hearing aid case or a battery little keychain thing, battery holder. And people may say, oh, well, just get rechargeable hearing aids. Well, that's not an option available to everyone, especially us, especially me in particular. My hearing is so severe. I need the power aids, the big ones. And a charge won't last on those hearing aids as long as I would need it to work. To have them on for, I usually wear them from 7 a.m. to midnight almost. So 12, 17-hour days. The charge isn't going to do that. I do want to talk about why accidental ingestion of a button battery, what happens physically. I didn't realize this.
Oh.
And this is actually what happened to this poor family. This little girl swallowed this button battery accidentally. They didn't know that she had done it. They had no idea. Thought she just had a cold. Thought she just had the flu. But what happens is when it can get stuck in the throat, saliva triggers an electrical current, which causes a chemical reaction. So your esophagus can be severely burned in as little as 2 hours, which can lead to death. So when you have a little toddler or an animal, someone can't really communicate what they're doing, you may see symptoms like drooling or not really wanting to eat or lethargic or vomiting. You think, oh, the kid's probably just sick. All of those symptoms, drooling, decreased eating. This is important for everybody to keep in mind if you're ever in a situation where you're not sure. If you suspect ingestion, you may see some of these things. Drooling, decreased eating or drinking, difficulty swallowing, hoarse voice, vomiting, chest pain and discomfort, abdominal pain, sudden crying. All of these things any little baby toddler could exhibit at any minute.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, this is why it's so difficult to know what may have happened. And just immediately go to the ER. It's so frightening that so many of these symptoms look like other ailments. So this is just in conclusion, this is what I mean. It's a terrible thing. Mm-hmm. It needs to be enacted. There needs to be more safety precautions in place. But for us, there is an inconvenience part, which can't be discounted.
Right. I mean, sometimes it's more than an inconvenience. So I'm on one of the HLA, the Hearing Loss Association of America message boards, and there's a lot of elderly people that have like arthritis in their hands. So it may not be an inconvenience for these people. It may be a case of them not actually being able to get into their batteries. Right. So there's definitely two sides to this. I mean, we need to protect kids, right? You can't always keep an eye on a kid or a dog, for that matter. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with this law, because something needs to happen, but I don't know if this was the right answer. Right. But I don't know what the right answer would be.
I think maybe just thinking about the way we think about prescription pill bottles, that there's an option available that's not child-proof or child-safe.
Oh, interesting.
You can request a screw top instead of a push the thumb down and turn the cap, pop it off kind of thing. I mean, that is an option, but again, no matter what the option is, it's going to be an additional cost incurred to hearing aid wearers. That's not covered by insurance. Of course. That's a whole other show.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah, so there are several sources here where I pulled my information from that we'll link with this episode if people want to read more. But it's pretty compelling to read about, and it's very, very tragically sad story. It's just absolutely horrible. And I appreciate the response. I think that a response should have been put in place, but at the same time, I'm not sure all angles were considered as thoroughly as maybe they could have been.
I wonder if the
looking beyond the knee-jerk reaction of protecting kids. I'll say it.
I wonder if the hearing loss community wasn't involved in
probably
crafting
they tend
of the
to forget
legislation.
that we exist.
It's true. That's why we're here, people.
We are. So
anyway,
we should. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll post an update as things kind of evolve. I know that rights groups are involved in this, and all kinds of things happening around this law. So we'll see. And I wish the best to that family. I'm terribly sorry that happened.
So sad.
And to any other people that have gone through that, it's absolutely awful. But let's see if we can find some middle ground on accessibility.
Yeah, thanks for the research. I had no idea. Most of that. I knew what the general gist of the law was.
I did too. I didn't until I started digging. I was
thank you.
There's a lot more here than I think I realized. Not as
cut and dried.
Cut and dry on the surface as it appears to be at times. So.
Yes. All right, so
that was fun.
That said, if anyone has any more information on that or any ideas, please comment below. Let us know. It's, again, something that we want it to be a dialogue.
Yep.
We don't know everything. Well, Julie does, but anyway, books. What do you got?
Okay. Wicked by Gregory Maguire. I can't believe I haven't gone there yet. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a wicked head. Okay, I love it. I love the movie, the Broadway show. I've seen the Broadway show. I got to count. Let's see. 3 times on Broadway, and 3 or 4 times in Broadway and Boston theater when it comes to the city. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've seen the movie more times than I care to admit, and I own it, and I've read this book 100,000 times. I love every single thing about it. I love it.
Is the book different than the
Yes, it's different enough, but it's equally as good.
Okay.
if not better in some parts.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
brilliant. I mean, Gregory Maguire's imagination
He's pretty good.
of being able to take such a classic story, such as The Wizard of Oz, and write the prequel of everything that came before and build those worlds and those characters. It's just beyond. I love it.
Yeah.
And I love Elphaba. And I loved The Wicked Witch when I was a kid anyway, because I always like to side with the slightly evil characters, the misunderstood people. I just think it's because that's me. I think sometimes I'm misunderstood. And I think of the job that I do. I work with kids that are really exceptional and very special and unique in their own way, right? So we don't always fit, and I don't fit into the kind of typical thing you think about with my hearing loss. And
Same.
I just always go for characters that have a little bit of something that sets them apart. And I feel that way about Elphaba. And I talk about her in my classroom all the time for my kids with learning challenges, or I say our bodies work differently. I say, look at Elphaba. She was green. And they're like, okay, Mrs. Lane, we're doing this again. I'm like, I'm just telling you, like, she has some special talent and nobody recognized it because you look different. I said, but that's like us because we're going to do our own thing and make a change in the world.
Excellent.
I do not have my wicked fingernail polish on today, but I have been known, right? With the pink and then the green sparkle here. I love everything about Wicked. I love it, love it, love it. Can't wait for part 2 to come out this fall.
I'll have to reread it because I read it years ago and I didn't care for it. I know.
What? How could what?
I don't know. I
Have
didn't
you
care
seen
for
the
it.
movie?
I haven't seen the movie. No.
Have you seen the musical?
I have not seen the musical
Have
either.
you listened to the music?
I have not. No. So I'm just going from the book, and I was. Meh. I mean, it was okay, but I didn't know what the big deal was. But again, I think I read this like 20 years ago, right? When did it come
I know
out?
what we're doing now. We are going to have a little master class on Wicked for the rest of the summer.
Okay.
Straight into the fall. You know what? That's it. I'm going to write up a syllabus. And we're going to go from now...
Summer break. Summer break, Miss Lane.
until the movie comes out in November. Have a master class.
I'll report back.
Everything.
Wait, am I going to have homework? You going to give me homework?
And then you're going to go in costume to the opening of Wicked Part 2. It's happening. Elphaba and Glinda are going to the movies. It's happening.
Nice.
What do you got?
Now that
you just ruined the mood, what do you have?
I didn't ruin the mood. Maybe I did a little bit.
What do you got?
Anyway, so this was your mom recommended the movie when she was on Conclave. So I read the book. I read the book recently. It was another one that I was reading on the plane, and it was a really good book. I learned more about the process for electing a pope, and that it was more than that though. It wasn't. Some bits kind of were a little dry because there's so many. The titles of names of archbishops are just so long, and so the purpose is to kind of like get into the weeds on the conclave. And so sometimes my eyes would glaze over on the 17th word of someone's title. Right. But it was really good. The twist ending was pretty good.
The book is better than the movie.
Yeah.
But the movie did the book justice.
Okay.
And came so close.
Yeah.
The book is so dense and there's so much stuff in it that to translate that into a movie I think would be hard anyway.
Yeah.
But the movie was fantastic. I mean, Stanley Tucci, Ralph Fiennes, John Lithgow, F. Murray Abraham, and then I forget. Probably. The man shows up and everything. It's so good.
Yeah, I was surprised there was a lot of like technical stuff to explain how the conclave worked.
Oh yeah.
But the characters were also great. The characters were fantastically done. And so I didn't watch the movie, but I read the book because that's what I do.
And what was cool is the timing of when Conclave, the book came out, and the movie came out. We had no idea that several months later we were going to lose Pope Francis.
Oh, right.
And be watching a conclave happen real time.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty bananas.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a good book.
Okay,
I loved it.
Funny story. Is that my funny story?
Yeah, go for it.
So, BC.
Yeah.
BC football. Like, you've been watching by now. You got to know where I stand on this. A couple of years ago, there was a fire at Alumni Stadium in the middle of the night. So there was smoke coming out of the top of Alumni, and they had to go and deal with it, right? So then last season, we were waiting to get a new coach. So the joke was there was a meme that was going around. When we finally got the new coach, they put up the picture of the smoke coming out of the Alumni Stadium. New coach has been elected in the conclave about the college. It was so funny. Anytime I think of conclave and the smoke, I'm like, I think of DC and the stadium on fire waiting for a new coach to come in.
That's funny. That's great. Yeah, so Conclave and Wicked. And if you have any comments, like I said earlier, about the law, any thoughts or anything, please let us know because we want this to be a discussion.
And keep an eye on here and on our social media accounts. And you'll be able to see Brad in pink fairy wings, clown, and me in green with a witch hat in November when Wicked comes back. All right?
All right, guys.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.